Hey there, it's Kimberly here with Knit for Brains, and oh my gosh, today we've got a new book to review. The Perfect Crochet Finish from Jane Crowfoot. So let's take a look. Stay tuned. Hey there, it's Kimberly here with Knit for Brains, and I am so excited to bring you this book today. It's called The Perfect Crochet Finish by Jane Crowfoot. Now, I haven't mentioned it on this channel, but I'm currently in the process of being certified as a crochet instructor with the Craft Yarn Council. They have different levels, crochet level 1 and 2, and they have knitting 1 and they have knitting 2. So I'm just starting with crochet level 1, seeing how it goes. But I thought it'd be a great way to learn how to teach crochet properly and using the proper terms and you know, the skills and things like that. So anyways, when I saw this book come on the market, I thought, oh, I gotta give this one a look-see. So if you're not familiar with Jane Crowfoot, she is a crochet designer out of the UK. She does a lot of blankets, a lot of household items and accessories, blankets, afghans, pillows. She also does some like sweaters and cardigans and things like that. But her designs are very whimsical, a lot of floral. If you think of Mary Engelbrett, kind of maybe take a little step in the back in the past, that's sort of her thing. I actually got one of her books from my brother-in-law from the UK. I got this for Christmas. This whole thing is a pattern book, and it's called Bohemian Blooms, and it's a crocheted blanket. And then actually, here's another little pattern of hers that I brought into it. But I mean, the patterns are beautiful, very, very whimsical, lot of really great pictures and step-by-step. So if you're going to do her patterns, I actually have two. I have one called the Magical Lanterns, and then I'm going to do this one as well. I just have to make sure I've got all of the yarn for it, but it's lovely. It's lovely. So I really was excited, not only about the book, but about the author who wrote the book. All right, so The Perfect Crochet Finish. It says tips and techniques from reading a pattern to weaving in the ends and everything in between. All right, so we talk here. So I'm expecting this book to be sort of like a one-stop shop. You know, like you would buy this for someone who's learning how to crochet, or maybe you just want to master your techniques. Here are some of her inspirations. This is that Mystical Lanterns that I was telling you about. I said magical, it's mystical. The Fruit Garden is a very famous one of her patterns. And then there's the Lily Pond and Fields of Gold. Her patterns are just gorgeous. She uses a lot of cotton, a lot of Katina cottons, some acrylics, probably some style crafts. So she talks about this book, starting with the essentials. So here we have hooks, yarns, and other crochet essentials. All right, so we have all about types of hook, choosing a hook, the anatomy of a hook. So we've got the pointed tip or pointed hook, the tip, the throat, the crook, the handle. Everything is nice. It's all in one place. And then here we talk about the US hook sizes and then the UK hook sizes. Very easy to understand. Now we're going to talk about the yarn basics. So whether you have yarn that's of an animal origin, a plant origin, that's going to be more of like your bamboo or your cotton. Animal origin is going to be your alpacas, and maybe you're going to be your silks. Obviously wool is going to be in here, and mohair. And then semi-synthetic is going to be, now she puts the bamboo yarn in a semi-synthetic. And then a synthetic is going to be like your acrylics. And then you might have your blends. Texture and color changes and things like that. So then we talk about the yarn weights and then the thread counts. Very, very detailed. So here we've got a yarn wrapper, a yarn label, and how to read those. And then yarn troubleshooting. So choosing a good alternative for a project. And that's always something that I get stuck on. Like even with this Bohemian Flowers pattern, I don't know that I have all of the yarn that it's going to call for. Do I want to go and buy more yarn for this project? No. I'll buy yarn for other reasons. I'm still trying to do the no buy, but that's not working so well. Anyways, but I would like to try to use as much from my own stash as possible. I mean, that's a goal, right? So then we have the imperial versus the metric, and what do you do if there's a knot in your yarn? So just even this, I think, from what I'm reading, is going to be a great book, even if you are an experienced crocheter. So for beginners, all the way through to experience, because I think there's going to be some little nuggets of information in here that even the experienced ones will go, oh, that's a good thing to remember. So let's see. So this is basically what you need to have in your crochet kit, like you're going to be building a kit. So it talks about here having different size crochet hooks, scissors, obviously, some crochet hooks like this, some markers, place markers, a darning needle, measuring tape, all these different things, yarn cutter, and then she explains to you what everything is in here too. Okay, and then it looks like she's got bags and pouches to put it in, and even like, you know, paper to write your notes on. All right, so here's some essential techniques. I mean, this starts from the basic. This is like prehistoric caveman making fire all the way through. That's how I'm seeing this. So how you hold your hook. Do you hold it as a pencil or do you hold it as a knife? And how you hold your yarn. And then even how you move your hook through the yarn. Avoiding aches and pains and stresses. And this is really important. As a crocheter, I'm really good about my body ergonomics. I'm never sore, but I'm just started weaving, and I do find that I can do it about 2 or 3 days, and then I have to take a break, and my whole body is sore, shoulders all the way down, my hands and everything. So body ergonomics is really important. Now we're talking about gauge, and this, as you guys know, I've always said I don't like making gauge swatches, but I have come to love them because what I hate more is frogging something because I made it the incorrect size or I did something wrong. So I've come to love gauge swatches. Here's how you measure a gauge. Here is how to see if the gauge is too tight, perfect, or a little too loose. That's the Goldilocks version right there. All right, patterns and charts. You know I love my charts. You know I love my charts. Here we talk specifically about the UK terminology versus the US terminology. And then reading a pattern and how those things work. This, I think, is really, really comprehensive. Here's a beautiful, beautiful chart. And you know how I love my charts. Because like I said, if it's something is written in a different language, or maybe the pattern writer's just writing it in a way that just doesn't resonate with you, and you're like, what? I don't get it. Having a chart is so crucial. I'm working on 2 patterns right now, 2 crochet patterns. For some reason, the wording that 2 different designers, that these designers write in, isn't jiving with me. And neither of them have charts. And I really wish that they did, because I could just look at it and go, aha, okay, this is the count, this is the stitch, I understand it, whatever. All right, making chains. Okay, so we're really going to the beginning. And then here's a tip. So if you don't have enough chains, if you've basically missed your count, rather than starting all over again, she talks about how you can add in more stitches into your tail with your working yarn. And also the foundation row. And the foundation row, I'm not going to say it's a new thing. Maybe it's just new to me. But I am trying to master the foundation row, where you do your chain and your first row at the same time. And once you figure it out, it's beautiful. It's a piece of art, but getting it can be a little confusing. All right, so now we're going to talk about your crochet stitches. Your single crochet stitch in the foundation and then into the previous row. And then here is the chainless foundation row. I haven't tried that. Whoa, that's interesting. Half double crochet into the foundation chain. This is great because, again, I really want to master the foundation chain technique. And it looks like, because sometimes I'll go, okay, I got it doing the single crochet, but then I have a pattern that calls for the half double crochet using a foundation chain. You're like, oh, or a double crochet. Like, oh, I don't know about that. So here we go. So I'm going to spend a lot of time on these pages here. This is double crochet into the foundation chain, or double crochet into the previous row. And then the turning chain. And you know, there's always like one thing that catches a crocheter. And I've been crocheting for a lot of years. And I've been making a lot of projects. And I gotta tell you, sometimes it's the simplest thing, like having my rows not go wonky. You think, okay, you should be able to figure this out. And sometimes I still get it wrong. So here we talk about the turning chains and then the counting stitches, right? Because this happens. And having the alignment is, but I'm going to mark this page big time because this is something that happens to me all the time. I'm going to take this little piece of yarn. I'm going to put it right here in the book because I need to come back to this. I'm like, I should know better. I should know better. And yet it still happens. Increasing and decreasing. So this is foundation crochet 101. But it's great. Great pictures, great illustrations, something that you can just, and they're all kind of like a one-pager, so you could just flip over to it and go right here. You don't have to go looking for it. So here we have working in the round, which obviously she does a lot of because of her patterns with her circles. So a foundation ring, making a neat foundation ring. I'm assuming we're going to have the magic circle in here somewhere. So that is not the magic circle, but I know it's got to be in here. Ooh, that's bad. How many times have you ever done this one before? Oh, yeah, I hate that. And you're like, do I just decrease the stitches to make it work? Or do I just take out all the stitches? And you ultimately have to end up just frogging the whole thing. But you really wish that you didn't have to. And you're like, could I fix this thing? And usually you can't. But if you learn how to fix it, then you let us know, because I would love to know. A neat join for the final round. Great, because sometimes, they get a little wonky, a little pointy. It's supposed to be a circle, and yet got a little cone head going on. All right, so here we got the tubular crochet working on the magic ring, and that is one of my favorite techniques to teach. It took a little while to figure it out, but once you got it, you're like, boom, man, this thing rocks. So here's your counting your tubular rounds. That's always interesting, because sometimes I lose it. I mean, sometimes something simple like counting your rows, you're like, oh, is this one or is it two? I don't really know. So this is going to be, I'm going to mark this page too. I'm going to put another something in that book. I'm going to mark another page. I'll take this. That's a big old piece though. I'll just put it right there for now. That's great. Oh, she actually does a page on frogging. That is interesting. So this is a good point. She says that the action of frogging can cause the yarn you have to unravel or become stretched or uneven. What a great point. I never would have thought of that. So my advice, she says, to cut away the used yarn and join a new yarn so the yarn matches up perfectly. Cutting. Wow. To avoid making mistakes in the first place, you constantly need to check your work. I do that. Even the Brit's like, I would be going crazy because I'll be going, okay, there's 90 stitches in this row, and I'll be watching TV going 78, 79, 80. He's like, why do you count every row? Double checking my work, friend. Double checking my work. But if you find that you're losing a stitch on every row or round, remind yourself of where to work your first and last stitches, whether you're turning a chain or a stitch. But she says, when working your stitches with longer pose, such as a double crochet and a triple crochet, you can cut through a row with scissors rather than unraveling the yarn. This is probably quicker than unraveling it row by row. If you made many rows after the mistake, but you need to be sure you have enough room to cut through the center or part of the stitches. Mind blower on that one. Wow. Okay. Comment below. Have you ever cut your mistakes out? That's interesting. Shapes and stitches. All right. So now we got shapes. A granny triangle, a traditional granny square, granny hexagon, single color grannies, tessellating shapes. Okay. So these are some of her gorgeous patterns here. Textural stitches. Ridge stitches. Okay, that's using the front and the back loop. Lovely. Working around the post. So that would be your front post double crochet or your single crochet. I love that. Kind of gives it that cable stitch look. Yep, one of my favorites. And people think those are so hard. They're not hard once you get the hang of it. So how do you get the hang of it? Friends, get this book. I'm telling you, this book is amazing. I found it on Amazon, so I got it the very next day. And like I said, it's only in 2024. It just came out. So crossed stitches. So crisscross stitch, double crochet. That kind of reminds me of a herringbone. A herringbone stitch reminds me of a kind of a diagonal looking shape, which I absolutely love. Bobbles. Love bobbles. Popcorn stitch, puff stitches. Okay. Bullion, decorative stitches. This is going to be a great complementary book to her pattern books as well. I think I'm going to bring her pattern book with me to the UK. I think. Depends. I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands, friend. Plus, I thought it would just be sort of cool to take a pattern back to the, motherland. But the Brit and I are going to be spending 2 weeks on what they call a narrow boat. It's a long boat It's like 60 to 70 feet long. Britt, tell me exactly how long it is. But I do know the width of this boat is 6.5 feet, 6.5 feet wide, people. And you got to put a bed in there and a walkway out of the bed. And I was like, how is that going to happen? And I'm really excited about this trip. Really excited. And we're going to be taking part of the narrowboat. We're going to be on it for 2 weeks, part of which we're going to be on it with my brother-in-law. And I said, right there, friend, is the reason why we need 2 bathrooms. 2 bathrooms. One for me and one for the gents. Now, the Brit would say, how about one for you and me and one for my brother? I'm like, no. We need to have a girls' bathroom and a boys' bathroom. That's what I think. We'll see if I get my way on that one. Filet crochet. Fabulous. I've been wanting to learn filet crochet. And then beading. Getting beads into a thing. That's a beautiful thing. I've never seen a book that incorporates this. And that is going to be very exciting. Beaded double crochet. So this book, I will give you all the info, but it comes in at $19.99. I think I paid like $17 something on Amazon. Probably was on sale, but $20. Best $20 you're going to spend, I'm telling you. Buy this book on Amazon, and then you won't waste your money on ruining yarns, which is going to end up costing you more because you didn't have this book to learn things. So then we talk about color work. Okay, fabulous. Working from a chart, love that. Now, I do love how she puts her patterns in here. So you kind of like, her patterns are so pretty, and you're going to go out and buy some. I'm sure you will. Intarsia crochet. That is one thing I haven't gotten into just yet, friends. I'm just trying to work through my yarn. Okay, inset stitches, borders, edgings, and embellishments. Borders and edgings. Okay. Peacoat stitching. So I actually have probably 3 books that I can think of off the top of my head that cover this information. So I could have all 3 books with me, or I could have this one book with me and have everything that I need. Everything. Surface crochet. I've never been able to do that. Sewing on embellishments. Buttons and buttonholes. Wow. Okay, covering a button. Good heavens. Pompoms, fringes, and tassels. Decorative flowers. Heart rose. That's gorgeous. Isn't that pretty? And it even has... Okay, so these are actual patterns of some of her flowers. Not just techniques. Oh, this is definitely going to have to come with me because I can't imagine that I'm going to have trouble with this book because it was written by her. So I would imagine it's going to be the same in here. I will include the link for this one as well. Bohemian Bloom. She had a couple other ones, and they're just beautiful. But these flowers, look at this. A small rose, a columbine, a gillow flower. And then we have some finishing touches. So weaving in your yarn ends, blocking, having a blocking board. I highly, highly recommend getting a blocking board. Joining the blocks, single crochet on the right side, slip stitch, join, all the things. All the things, friends. Flatbread braid join, sewing techniques, washing and storing. I do the mattress stitch typically. And then more useful information. That's kind of the whole book is useful information. So these are common pattern abbreviations and common chart symbols. And then the index, and then all of her resources. What a fabulous, fabulous book. Wow. All right. Well, there you go. This is the perfect crochet finish book from Jane Crowfoot. I found it on Amazon. It lists at $19.99. In Canada, it's $26.99. I don't think I paid that. I think it was probably like on sale for $17, $18, something like that. And if you're interested in this pattern, this is just something that I printed out from her website, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I printed that on the web. You know what I think I did? She might have mailed this to me. I think I had to pay for that at one point. It's an old pattern. But this one here is a Bohemian crochet blanket. Yeah, and it's square by square. It's lovely. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for going through this book with me. Thanks for hanging in there when we got to look at these two exciting books together. This is the exciting one, and this one's also lovely, but these might be coming with me on my trip to the UK. We're going to be gone for 5 weeks, something like that. If you've just joined us, and we have a lot of new followers, and I'm very excited that you're here. We have over 5,000 subscribers now, so keep them coming. Tell your friends about us. We do more of these tutorials, more unboxings. I'm not going to lie and say no more yarn's going to be coming, because some might be coming, because some big news is out there in the yarn world. So we're going to be talking about that. Project Welcome Home. So if you want to know some of the other fun stuff that we do, just check out the playlist. I've got all the different things listed. So we've got tutorials, we've got book reviews, product reviews, we've got Project Welcome Home, and then, you know, more fun like this. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you're new here, please keep watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so that you just keep getting those notifications when we post stuff. This is Kimberly with Knit for Brains. And as always, I'll see you soon.